Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we're going to be talking about the Lakers game against the Bucks yesterday. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video, sub to the channel, and make sure you follow me on Instagram. My handle is CTABANZ. So let's get into today's game. So the Lakers were playing against another team that was a sub 500 team, but this was a little bit different because we were playing against one of the top three players in the NBA in Giannis Antetokounmpo. And when you have a player like that on your roster, you always have a shot at winning games. But going into that game, I actually thought that the Lakers were going to win. I really, really did. They had just lost one game to the San Antonio Spurs. So they were in one game streak. I don't know if you call that a streak, but LeBron didn't play in that game. But going into this game, everybody was pretty much available. Obviously, Austin Reeves hasn't been available, but the Lakers certainly had enough to go into that game. And then ultimately, they ended up being down in the first half. And then you saw the highlights at the end of the game. I'm sure most of you, that they weren't able to convert on the final possessions to win the game. Giannis just came up and made some huge defensive plays. And Giannis's defense is one of the reasons why some people view him as the best player in the world. Not just that people are not just looking at his, I mean, if you look at his offensive numbers, they're gaudy. He's a guy that averages damn near 30 and 10 every single year. But what he gives you on the defensive side of the floor and his motor is something that really doesn't show up on the stat sheet most nights. But anyway, you have that there. So the Lakers lost the game. And then it came time to hear from the head coach, JJ Redick. And people this season have, JJ Redick is out of the honeymoon phase. The first year he was a head coach, JJ was in a honeymoon phase. He was the new shiny toy. Everybody was just like, oh, JJ. Yeah, that's kind of stopped this year. Right. And so I tuned in to hear what JJ had to say at the end of the game. And a lot of it, you know, it just seemed kind of like contrived, like, yeah, it's my fault and all. And I'm like, this is beginning to get old. Like, this is starting to get old in my view. And I think it's starting to wear thin on a lot of people as well. But before we even get into what JJ had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports with over 10 million members. PrizePicks makes it easy to get real money action on the sports and players you love. You pick more or less on at least two for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. For example, this week I'm really looking forward to some of these upcoming games. This week I'm picking Stephen Curry for more than 29 points. I'm picking Kevin Durant for more than 27 points. I'm picking Giannis Antetokounmpo for more than 12 rebounds. And I'm picking Luka Doncic for more than 8 assists. If you're like me and you like to play it safe, you'll love PrizePicks' new feature, Flex Plays. It's the safest way to play. You can still cash out even if your lineup isn't perfect. Plus, you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. On top of this, PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my picks hit, I can get my money as quick as in 15 minutes. So download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. All right. So what we want to do is want to play what JJ had to say in the post-game interview. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to his comments here.
JJ, we've seen so many games with some kind of formula like this where you make a big run in the second half and then kind of emerge victorious. So what do you think changed down the stretch after you came back and I think took a 4-point lead?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to go back and watch it. I just off the top of my head, we take the lead to go up 4, and then we come up empty on a number of possessions and felt like it's not, we weren't like empty possessions. We were getting good looks, didn't score, and then we put them on the free throw line for the Kevin Porter play, and then the other I think it was LeBron that fouled. So they ended up getting four points there when off that free throw line when we were quite frankly playing great defense for most of the entire second half. So and then there's a certain process that you follow in those situations, end of game, and the first thing is always you tell the ref, make or miss, I'm gonna call timeout. And Luka fouls out. Not to make excuses, Luka fouls out. I got to get a sub in. Then we're discussing, do we want Vando in for rebounding? So we get another sub in. And then I realize, there's one shot left. And then it's like, we know it's a short timeout. You're all right, 16 seconds, need 2, need 3. Felt like there's enough time to do a need 2. So it's like, all right, let's run this. Then they miss. And I jump up and I call a timeout. They didn't hear me, which I get. That's like the third time this season that's happened. And again, the process, I skipped a step there. And then once it got down, it was about 6, 7 seconds, 8, maybe 8 tops when it got across half court. And, I like kind of what I saw. We won a game in Toronto like that. But coulda, woulda, shoulda. The reality is the one step, didn't follow it of the process. So I'll take the blame on that.
What'd you make of Luka's night? I don't think he's fouled out as a Laker prior to the night, and obviously didn't shoot it as well as we're accustomed to seeing. Just, do you think Milwaukee was doing certain things in particular to give him troubles, or what do you make of it?
No, I don't. They played drop, and I thought there was a few drives early that he felt like he got fouled on. And then he missed some free throws, and I think he's been such a dynamic driver and paint toucher for us. That those plays can kind of mess with your mind a little bit. But he's won us so many games, and he's not gonna he's every whatever game it is, you're naturally gonna have not your best stuff, and he's didn't have his best stuff tonight, but I think all those guys, LeBron especially, the group that played most of the fourth quarter, they put us in a position to win the game.
JJ, just kind of what was your vantage point on those 2 defense plays that Giannis made, and just sort of the things that separate him from so many other players in this league?
Yeah, I mean, again, the last play, I said to the team, like, we got a good advantage. We created an advantage with the best player, our best player on the floor. And he made a hell of a play to get the back tap. And then the block was, again, we have that, on the scouting report. If you got to have awareness on him. And, I liked the take, and he made a hell of a defensive play. We've seen him do it a number of times.
Excellent. So you heard what JJ had to say. What are my thoughts about this? Yeah, this sounds great, but at this point, no one cares. That's number one. Number two, is it just me, or does JJ sound like when he's talking in these press conferences like he's almost lecturing you? Like, still, I'm still educating you on basketball. Doesn't it come off like as if he's still on his podcast? Is it just me, or maybe it is just me, right? But that's something that I've been getting to notice with JJ Redick. Like, it just still seems kind of this smug, kind of like this dirtbag vibes. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be reading too much into it, but it's something that I see, right? And I think that after a while, man, if the Lakers are not producing results, people don't care. People don't care about these explanations and how smart you may sound. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you can barely speak. As long as the team is getting results, that's all that matters, man. And if you look at the Lakers currently in the standings, so they're now the 5th seed in the Western Conference, right? But they're tied for the 5th seed in terms of losses with 4 of the teams. So that's the Nuggets, the Wolves, the Rockets, and of course themselves, right? Now, if they start losing games, they can now find themselves into the play-in picture. Now, if we look at the opponents that the Lakers are going to be facing, they have a very easy schedule, because now they're going to play the Kings, so that should be a win. They're going to play the Hawks. They made a trade, so I think that's going to be a win. They're going to play the Hornets. That should be a win. And they're going to play the Trailblazers. So my guess is the Lakers are going to win the next 4 games, and then it gets very, very tough, because then they're going to be playing against the Nuggets, the Clippers, the Mavericks. At least the Nuggets and the Clippers should be a little bit, should be a little challenging, right? And then they have the Bulls and some other teams there as well. So I think they're going to be able to get back on track. But my key takeaway from all of this is that this kind of like lecturing, like I'm lecturing you guys, like that after a while, that kind of gets old. And if in the future you're not producing results, no one cares about you trying to lecture them about basketball in a post-game interview. No one cares. All right? No one will care. It won't be cute anymore. It's not, like, oh my God, that's what people are done with that. Right? So that's my major takeaway from it. So what I want to know from you guys, what do you think about the breakdown? What do you think about what JJ had to say? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts in the comments, and we catch you on the next show. Peace.